Hi, my name is Jez Groom and I'm the founder and CEO of Cowry. We're a behavioural science consultancy and we really put the science behind exceptional customer and employee experiences. And we're on a mission. Hi, my name is Jez. I'm the founder and CEO of Cowry Consulting. We're a behavioural science consultancy and we specialise in delivering the science behind exceptional experiences, be they customer or employee experience. We're really on a mission to make businesses as humanly possible. We've got a phenomenal amount of talent in psychology and behavioural science. And we work with some of the largest brands and businesses in the world and really put that human touch into digital transformation. What I want to talk to you is some work we do with Aegon, a pension provider here in the UK, about some work we did around pension statements and how we transform them into personalised pension videos. So I want to ask you a question. I wouldn't be a psychologist if we didn't ask you questions, but how many of you know the value of your house, like the nearest 5,000 or 10,000 pounds? I'm imagining quite a few of you. What's really interesting is if I ask a similar sort of question, how many of you know how much is in your pension right now? It's only those people that are close to the age of 55 that have got a really good grasp of that. And the reason is because we often get sent piles and piles of paper with lots and lots of words and numbers, and it's kind of a psychological disaster, but also an ecological disaster. All this paper being created that people just don't engage with. In fact, the level of engagement is so low. 95 out of every 100 people miss out on valuable information because only 5 out of 100 actually read these things. And we wanted to change that and help Aegon essentially transform their customer experience in this area. We created pictures because we know that our brains are really dedicated to visual stimuli and movement and video. And pictures can often paint 1,000 words that sometimes numbers just don't do it justice. So I'd like to talk about the psychology and the science that we put sort of behind this, which was absolutely sort of fascinating. We actually implemented 36 behavioural science principles within these personalised videos. I'm not going to go through all 36 on this sort of presentation, but the first one's quite interesting, that highlight a sense of ownership to capture attention. People often refer to their pensions as like my GlaxoSmithKline pension or my Pfizer pension, but actually it's your pension. It should have your name on it. And we wanted to essentially create that sense of endowment, that sense of ownership throughout these films. We're not going to go through the next 35, but I'm going to pick out 3 of the really key ones, which actually were quite oblique, quite lateral, and I think quite fascinating. So the first one was birdsong. What has birdsong got to do with pension videos? Well, I suppose what's really interesting is when we start to look at the science behind it, it starts to raise some really interesting insights. And the first one is birdsong. We find it really reassuring. And I'm going to play you a short video from Julian Treasure, who is like a soundscape expert in this area.
Birdsong, for example, is a sound which most people find reassuring. There's a reason for that. Over hundreds of thousands of years, we've learned that when the birds are singing, things are safe. It's when they stop you need to be worried.
So that's fascinating. So birdsong we find very reassuring because predators aren't around from a psychological perspective, like an evolutionary psychological perspective. And what's really interesting is it's been applied in different environments, in education, transport and health, to kind of reassure people at critical points within the customer experience. The second one is size really does matters. And I don't think I was ever going to say that in a pension financial services CX sort of conference, but it really does matter. Our brains are kind of programmed to look at things relatively. So when things get bigger or smaller, we have to judge them against different stimuli. And this is a classic psychological kind of illusion, that which of these spots in the middle looks bigger or smaller. And essentially what's interesting is the one on the left, essentially just a little bit smaller. The one on the right looks a little bit bigger. But when we take especially the context away, they both look exactly the same. And what's really interesting about this is we can't reverse it. Now we know they're both the same. I'm going to go back and you can see the one on the left just looks a little bit smaller again, and the one on the right looks a little bit bigger. And we make a lot of judgments relatively. So actually when things do get bigger or bigger than others, we need to compare them, and we need to utilize that, utilizing visual stimuli. The third one is first-person perspective. And who'd have thought that games like Call of Duty or Redemption would be really, really important for pension videos? But one of the things that we identified was these games are so addictive because they're so immersive. And actually, if we create videos in first-person perspective, so we actually feel like we are engaging with our pensions more, then people are more likely to change their behavior and do things sort of as a result. And here's an example of Call of Duty, which some of you might be familiar with. My sons play it, I don't play it at all. And I'm just going to show you a short film of, I suppose, how it's been utilized in virtual reality to create experiences in other areas.
Yeah. Oh, it freaks me out when I look down. Oh, it feels so high. Okay, right. Oh God, I've got to climb. You sort of know that it's not real, but when you initially look down, oh my God, it's terrifying. Oh, I don't know where to go. Oh, it's the going down bit. It's making my knees feel funny. Really? Yeah. Okay.
So you found your route now? That's fascinating. You know, essentially her tummy and knees were going all wobbly and jelly-like through visual stimuli. So we can start to essentially create these kind of visceral experiences as we go through. So that's some of the psychology. Obviously, there's a lot of technology which I know nothing about. So we work with Loop partners to bring the size and the scale of the project and deliver this. And in terms of the process we went through, we did a behavioral audit of competitive videos, that some that exist, it was not so many. We also looked at the guardrails that the FCA put down in terms of their smarter comms. We looked at a lot of psychological principles, and then essentially started to look at different behavioral markers, and then what the actual film would get people to do in terms of call to actions, and then gave guidance on scripts, the visuals, the animation, as you saw, and actually redesigned some of the landing page and the emails that sort of supplemented the experience. It was a truly personalized experience. So we looked at things like age, investment holding, and the value of people's funds as some variables sort of within that. And it was just phenomenal. I think there's over like 250,000 unique messaging variations to create this truly personalized sort of experience. So rather than delivering this, if you like, which is words, numbers, paper, we did something quite different and created a video. So what I'm going to do is show you the video now, and this is for a guy called Robbie, who's age 42, who works for Edinburgh Council.
Hello, Robbie. Welcome to your Aegon Personalised Pension Summary. We've made this video especially for you, where we'll cover details about your pension, such as your contributions, your fund, and what your pension pot might be when you come to retire. We've put all of this information and more into your yearly statement, which will be with you on your policy anniversary. At your current age, we can see that now is an important time to continue building your pension. For now, make yourself comfortable and let's take a look at what's been happening with your pension over the last 12 months. So, here's what you've invested and here's what your employer has invested in that time. And as you know, you contribute through salary sacrifice, so you've helped to boost your pension pot, which means the value of your pension pot is currently at this amount. It seems like your employer contributing to your pension is a valuable benefit. Additionally, you also have the payments you've made into your ISA. This is currently where you are in your pension journey. You can see how far you have to go to retirement, so bear this in mind when considering your decisions and attitude to risk going forward. As it stands, you're on track at an age of 65 to potentially receive a pot of this amount when you come to retire, which equates to a pension income of this amount each year. If this doesn't match your expectations, you may want to consider reviewing your retirement savings. You should use the goal planner to see what changes could make a difference, like increasing your contributions. You should think about your lifestyle choices for when you come to retire, remembering that your pension pot is there to last for your whole retirement. So that's everything from your day-to-day spending, such as your groceries, to holidays and enjoying days out. At the moment, we can see you've decided to switch out of the scheme's default fund, and it looks like you've made some active decisions. It's important you continue to review your investment choices to make sure they meet your goals, your lifestyle, and your attitude to risk. You should also check your contribution levels because any increase could make a difference. Just remember, the more you save now, the quicker you may reach your retirement goals. If you have more than one pot, it might be worth bringing them together. If you wish to make any changes, simply log on to your secure online account. Remember, this is your pension, you own it. So, it's important that you review your investment choice. If you have more than one pot, consider bringing them together and think about increasing your contributions, as this is an important time for you to continue building your pension. You'll find all the necessary links on this page to help you complete your next step. Thanks for watching.
So there you go. The critical question is, does it change behavior? Do people engage with it? Do they open it? Do they watch it? Do they do things as a result? And what was fascinating, I think, was the email campaign generated an engagement rate of like 40%. So that's 8 times higher than we had previously on the paper statements. 21% of people were uniquely clicking through, and 85% of people went to watch the whole video. You know, we were not nervous, but we did a lot of testing around what was the optimum length, what would people be prepared to, and did they want more or less. Almost half of those that watched that video actually went on to do things. 22% checked their goal planner and saw whether they were meeting, I suppose, their aims for retirement. But critically, 8% switched funds. So maybe moving out of that default fund and being a more active investor. And 12% of people consolidated pots, like bringing pension pots together so they felt empowered and in control. And year on year, there was an uplift of 95 additional transactions. This was just on this pilot alone, and this equated to over 1.3 million assets coming into Aegon, which paid for the pilot, and from anything else from there on in was a real sort of win and paid for itself for Aegon. So hopefully you've learned a lot about behavioural science, personalised pension videos. And if you like to know more and learn more, then come to our booth and you've got the opportunity to win a free behavioural science book. So some of you might have read some of these before, but if you want to know more, then come and speak to myself and be happy to answer any questions. So thanks for listening to us. Thanks for enjoying this presentation and session, and look forward to hearing from you.